Good morning. This is your Lockdown Live number 44, and it's Friday. Get in. Let's celebrate that Friday feeling. If you're not working over the weekend, I'm really sorry if you're working over the weekend. Okay. I'm working tomorrow morning. I'm joining you. Today, we're going to look at emotional wellness. Emotional wellness is day 4 of our 5 pillars of mental and physical well-being. Emotional wellness is a really strange or unusual term, and I'm not sure a lot of people would know what it is. So, very quickly, just start off with a description. It is the ability to practice managing stress and anxiety to be resilient and generate emotions that lead to good feelings. So, it really is, when we talk about emotions, it really is about managing all of our emotions. And actually, I wonder whether sometimes that's one of the hardest things for us to do. We all know about exercise. We all know about movement. We know a lot about nutrition, but actually, when we when it comes to this, and I point at this because this is kind of where a lot of stuff feels like it lives. It doesn't, but it feels like it lives in here. Then I think we struggle somewhat. I think as a race, as a human race, we've always struggled with what happens in the head. We are way more advanced than we've ever been, thankfully. But still, when it comes to emotions, I think sometimes we ignore them. One of the most classic things I've seen over the last year. This is really interesting that I've seen people say, "Well, people have got it worse than me. People have got it worse than me," and I'm like, "You have a right to feel." Is always my stock phrase. You have a right to feel. You have a right to feel sad, to feel emotional, to feel like you have no compassion left. You have a right to do that. Yet somehow over the last year, because of the year we've had, people have done this thing more and more where they've gone, yeah, yeah, well, no, 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 there are people dying and the people have got no money and all of this. And I'm like, you're still allowed to feel. Doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If we ignore what's happening here in our system, then it's just not going to be very good. So that's what emotional wellness is. It's about the ability to practice management of our system, as I call it. So managing things like stress and anxiety and worry, but then also having the ability to generate good feelings. Okay, the stress, the anxiety, and the worry come from a very natural source of our primal need to survive. I talk about that often. It's very true. They are just generated very naturally. The generation of some of the good stuff has to come from a more proactive place. So by that I mean practicing things like gratitude. Once we begin to look at the things that we have in our world that we have, like a little bit of food in the cupboard, towels, hot water, roof over our head, the fact that we are still breathing. If you're watching this, I'm going to guess you're still breathing. I mean, and is that not something to be grateful for on this wonderful Friday? But we forget that. That's the kind of crux of this. We forget that actually each day that we wake up is another gift. Is another gift from the universe or whatever your belief system is. But we almost assume, so we if we don't see that as something to be grateful for, and then we get a flat tire, then all of a sudden the world's against us. Whereas if we wake up and go, okay, yes, another day, amazing. Yes, I've got hot water. Yes, I've got a towel to dry myself with. Yes, I can have a cup of tea or some breakfast. And all of a sudden our mood is up here, and then we get the flat tire, the mood goes to here. Whereas if you've not done the grateful thing, the mood goes to here. See the difference? It just helps lift us a little bit. So gratitude, oxygen. I talk about this analogy all the time. What is your oxygen? When you're on an aeroplane and the oxygen mask falls, and they all say take your own oxygen first before you pass it on. That's because we have to have the oxygen first, because if not, we would pass out. That part's really important, because if we pass out, then we can't be there for other people, can we? So oxygen comes from things that lift us a little bit, and that could be having coffee and cake, it could be walking, it could be exercise, it could be watching something funny on TV. All of the things that kind of fall out of my head, all those things there. But it could be many, many different things. A lot of people get joy from doing a gratitude list. They get joy from. I remember delivering a corporate in a corporate setting once, and they said that actually making their smoothie every morning, standing and making their smoothie and putting loads of greens in, loads of vegetables in, was something that gave them a lot of joy. And it was really unusual to hear that, but I was like, yeah, I get it. It could be that you get joy from baking or cooking or making, creating. All of those things give you joy. And if they give you joy, then it's really important right now more than ever, as I say, that you give yourself those pops of oxygen. And it's even harder now because the world is in like the semi-crisis and everybody's needs are different. It's even harder now to find those moments when you can. But please, please, please do that. And the other one to add to that is about being mindful, because mindfulness, as I talked about yesterday, I didn't catch yesterday. Yesterday was all about mindfulness and being still. Mindfulness just allows our mind to drop into this very still and manageable place. Once it's still and manageable, all of the emotions, some of the ones that come from the primal system, are then more manageable. We worry less, we have less habits, less unhealthy habits. If I'm working with people with OCDs and those kind of behaviors, then I always go in from the what oxygen are you delivering yourself? Because if we can worry less, then there's less chance that they will carry out. And then once we can pull the energy down, then we can get in and change some of those behaviors. I also wrote down here, if we don't manage our emotions, they manage us. Because they do, because they absolutely do. So the action for happiness calendar today says, take 3 calm breaths at regular intervals during the day. Yes, I love this one. This is amazing. So again, this is like, I talk to people about this all the time. I didn't write the action for happiness calendar, but we are definitely in sync, myself and them. Take 3 calm breaths at regular intervals during the day. My gold standard on deep breathing is that we deep breathe for like 3 or 4 minutes every hour, all day long. And what happens again is we lower the energy in our mind and we become far more still and far more serene and peaceful. And then we get to manage what's in here. So if you are doing things or behaving in ways or saying things that you don't like, then practice the deep breathing, because it will definitely pull the energy down and give you more opportunity to practice the way that you want to be. Okay, so that's the action for happiness calendar today. Tomorrow we're going to look at social connection for wellness. It's the last of 5 pillars, but social connection and why it's so important to us. So just to highlight, emotional wellness is the ability to practice managing stress and anxiety, be resilient and generate emotions that lead to good feelings. So it's about a management of, let's just say it's a management of our primal system, because that needs a good bit of management right there. And then on the other side, it's about how we then generate really good and positive feelings without it being toxic positivity, which is another subject. Okay, so those 2 areas there. If you look at nearly all of my work, which is all on YouTube and all on my Facebook page, if you look at all my work, it is all based around this. Everything leads to this one point here where I want you to be more peaceful and more in control, more empowered to be in control of your feelings. Okay, I'm going to go because I've dipped out of a meeting to come to this and do this. So I'm going to finish this feed and then I'm going to dip back into the other feed before I start work at 9. Okay, although some might class this as work. I wish you an absolutely blessed day. Get outside, have a walk, enjoy your Friday, and I will be back tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 8:15, looking at social connection for wellness. Okay, be happy, be kind to yourself, and be kind to everybody around you. Love and peace. Bye bye.